This is Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi. Here now, Tony Bruschi.
We're about to have a conversation with a woman who was cutting the hair of Andrew McGann right before police came in and made the arrest of the alleged man who committed that double homicide at Devil's Den State Park. It's an in-depth conversation. It's not what you're going to see on cable television where it's just a couple minutes. We're going to talk for about 20 minutes about her experience in depth and what it was like just the other day when it all went down. It was just another day at work for Adriana, a typical afternoon in her Springdale salon, taking walk-ins, cutting hair, going about her business. Little did she know the next customer to step in her chair would be Andrew McGann, man accused of the brutal double homicide at Devil's Den State Park. And keep in mind, at this time, no one knew the name Andrew McGann. We had a mugshot. We had a picture of him, and that's all we had at that moment in time. That mugshot, or not mugshot, that police sketch, I should say, that was drawn up came exclusively from witnesses that we talked to here first on the Hidden Killers podcast and True Crime Today that we then sent over to police. They were trying to get in touch with them for quite a while, but they did not have a working tip line for 3 days. So we talked to them first. With hair long, tangled, and noticeably unkept, he quietly requested a fade, a cut that would soon become infamous. But within moments, detectives stormed the salon. Not in the way you would think, though. It wasn't a battering ram, let's run in. It's more so, is that your car, sir? We'll let her explain all of it. It disrupted the everyday routine and transformed Adriana's workspace into a crime scene. Adriana now finds herself grappling with the trauma of coming face to face with the chillingly soulless eyes of an accused killer. Let's delve into Adriana's firsthand account, raw, emotional, and haunting, as she recalls the chilling moments leading up to McGann's arrest from her own chair. Adriana, you were there, and everyone is coming to you going, what was it like? What happened when this killer allegedly came in to get his haircut? I want to hear your raw experience from as he walked into your salon to when he got arrested. I mean, how did this all begin? Did he have an appointment, or was he a walk-in?
No, we work only by walk-in.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, the day started, just like a regular normal day. I went to the back to heat up some food for my lunch, and saw a black car pull up, just like, any other cars that can pull up clients. Sure. So I went back upstairs. My aunt told him to sign his name. I guess he just looked at her, and she kind of got freaked out. She did tell me she kind of got, scared with the way that he kind of like had a straight face just looking at her.
Mm-hmm.
So she just said, hey, can you attend him? Since I speak English, it'd be easier for me and the client.
Sure.
So I told him, hey, I'll get you right over here. I'll get you in my chair.
Mm-hmm.
He walked, like when I saw him, just the way that I could see his eyes through the hair, that really did kind of give me an eerie feeling. Just the way that his face was, it looked pretty scary. But I had him walk to my chair. I sat him down. I told him, how would you like your haircut? And he just said he wanted a high fade. He said he wants nothing off the top. He just kept looking down. His hair was long. So I explained to him, okay, if you don't want nothing cut from the top, this is what a high fade would look like. And I showed him a reference picture photos that we have. And he didn't really want the high fade. So I explained with other pictures, this is a mid fade and a low fade. And we ultimately we went with a mid fade. And as I sat him down, I put the cape over him, started, combing his hair. I noticed his hair was pretty tangled. I noticed he had very dry scalp. And I detangled his hair, and then I started cutting his hair. And with all of the post about, be on the lookout of this guy, I'm like, what if, I just saw the back of his head and I'm like, what if, because I had, I looked at him while I was turning the chair, to look at him. And he just had, his head down. I didn't have any conversation with him because I'm like, he looks pretty, pretty timid, pretty shy. It's just that one feeling, and with, after that, after, I was about to give him, the fade, cause I just, I marked his haircut and everything. That's when, a man came. It was a detective, asked about the black car, and, it was his car. He was the only one sitting in my chair. He matched the description. And, that's, when I knew that something serious, was happening. And after all that, I found out that it was related to the Devil's Den incident. Everything in me changed. It did take a toll on me. A lot of people, I read comments where a lot of people are like, this shouldn't have affected her. It's not that big. But, until they're in my shoes, knowing, that I touched this monster, and it can affect a person.
Without a doubt. I mean, ignore the trolls. There's tons of them out there. And you're unfortunately getting a taste of them. We see them all the time, but ignore them. They're not worth it. Let me ask you, okay, so when the detective stepped in, were you actively cutting his hair at that moment in time, or did you step away for a moment and he informed you of this? How did that all take place?
So I was, cutting his hair, and, a man came in, and, I thought he was related to him, I thought he was just someone waiting for him in the car or something. Sure. He just came in. Or a client. I thought he could also be a client until, I was cutting his hair, and then he's like, is the black Kia that's outside, is this yours? And that's when he was pretty quiet, and I guess he asked him again, and I assume this is your car, because he was the only one in my chair. He's the only one that was matched in the description and everything. And I guess he said yes, and then he's like, I'm gonna need you to step out of the chair. And I was surprised. That's when he stood up. They took him to the other side. They told him, lift up your shirt. I guess they were looking for something. And then they handcuffed him there. They took him outside. I guess they asked him more questions, and did all the investigation inside.
Let me ask you this, because they were asking about the car. I'm assuming that's what brought the attention. And as we heard, it was within the hour that they had, I guess, some sort of ID on this suspect that they then went out and took action and found him. The car itself was what seemingly, I guess, would you say that that's probably what brought them to the salon, is seeing that car there? Do you have any idea how they figured out that he was there? Was it a tip from someone saying, hey, here's this vehicle that I've been hearing described, it's sitting at this salon?
No, we were just, sitting down waiting for a client. I believe that they were tracking him down. I'm not sure how far out. I just know that he stopped at the salon, and just, wanting to get a haircut. And that's where they're like, okay, we got him here. It's a closed building. And, that's where they just ultimately got him and arrested him.
You said he had tangled hair. And I mean, I'm pretty much, obviously I don't have any, so I don't have to deal with that. Except when my chest hair gets tangled. That's really weird. But I deal with it with my dog, and that's about it. Was he well groomed? Was he well taken care of? Or would you say this is someone who maybe didn't have the best self-care routine going on?
Definitely someone that did not have the best self-care. I did notice that I feel like he just changed into those clothes. They looked fresh. It was a bright blue shirt and like khakis or like a tan color pants. But with his hair, it just felt, the texture of it felt like dry. It was dry. I could see, dry scalp and flakes, when you're combing out the hair and the scalp is too dry, you get some flakes. But yeah, it just looked like, it looked like he was very dehydrated and that he possibly didn't eat or anything, because he did look, a little thin and slim.
I mean, was there any sort of indication? Was this the big question is, was this a haircut for the next school year, which he would have been starting on Monday, or was this to change his look? I mean, would this have changed his look up very much had the cut actually finished and your the hair smock not end up in the mug shot?
Yeah. Well, I believe the school year's literally right around the corner.
Yeah.
I feel like he was either getting ready, but also knowing that there's a mugshot or a picture with the back of his head. I feel like he just wanted possibly to just get it cut.
Yeah.
Just possibly just get it cut and maybe try to look different. I'm not too sure, but I do know that I have friends in other salons that told me that they possibly that he's the one who possibly went up to them, and because they are appointments, he didn't want to wait. And so my question is, did he pick the salon because we're only walk-ins, or did he pick the salon knowing that it's that we wouldn't know, if he walked in or anything. So it's pretty weird not knowing.
So you're hearing from other colleagues of yours that he may have tried to go to other locations, other salons, and they said, we don't do walk-ins right now, or we're booked up, and he ended up finding you because you did do walk-ins.
Right. Yeah, we do walk-ins. I know a lot of salons here do appointments, but we do walk-ins. And I'm not sure, if it was him going to the other salons and leaving quickly. But yes, he did stop at our salon.
Let me ask you this, because there are a lot of reports out that he had injured himself in the course of this horrible thing that he did on the trail. And I don't know if you noticed or not, but I'm asking you, did you notice any sort of hand injuries or anything like that would raise a red flag of like, hey, what happened here? Did you hurt yourself barbecuing this weekend or something? Or did you notice anything at all?
The only thing I noticed was his skin. I told the detective there, the only thing I noticed was I felt like his skin had like a condition or something, because it looked kind of two-toned, and I wasn't sure if he was scarring or anything, but. I did not really see any indication, the only thing was just, so he had his hair pretty long, and I know that in the mugshot, I could see that he had injuries. So I'm guessing that's why he didn't want me to touch anything from the top. That way I wouldn't notice that he had that injury. And looking back at the videos, I did notice as he was walking, he had his hands in his pockets. So I guess I didn't really pay too much attention.
Sure. I mean, of course, you're not thinking as someone walks in for a walk-in that this is the guy who just committed a double homicide at Devil's Den State Park. I mean, you see a lot of people for walk-ins, I'm sure, on a regular basis. I mean, how often did the vibe that you got from this guy? I mean, just I'm asking your personal opinion and just kind of your own context for what you felt. How often do you feel like this about someone who walks in to get their hair cut, where you feel that there's something kind of dark about this person?
I mean, I don't judge like any clients or anything. I just, when I saw him, I got a little bit of the chills just because the way that his eyes looked behind, I could see his eyes from, the strands of hair that he has. That gave me the chills. But I feel like it wasn't until I was combing out his hair that I started to think and question, like, what if this is the man or anything, because I'm like, his hair looks pretty definitely not taken care of. And he really did look dehydrated and had a lot of flakes. So I just started, questioning in my mind, what if this is the guy? And so it turned out, it was. And as soon as they got him from my chair, I decided not to sweep up the hair that was on the floor, when I was cutting his hair, just in case they needed it.
Yeah.
So they took him out, and I just, waited. I sat there. And a detective came in, and I'm like, hey, I have his hair here. I haven't swept it up in case you guys need it for anything. And, they were kind of surprised, and they're like, yes, we will be needing to. And so they collected that.
I bet you didn't expect to find evidence markers on your floor.
Right. No. As soon as I saw those evidence markers, I'm like, okay, this is the guy that they're definitely looking for.
Yeah, things are getting really real. Those eyes are a scary thing, and we see it so often in so many cases, like the Brian Kohberger case in Idaho. It's that dead eyes. We see it so often in these sort of people. It's rare, I guess, to come face to face with it. But, I mean, can you give me... any more? I know you've been, I know you said there was a night you couldn't sleep, and I hope that's getting better for you. Because my God, this is quite something. This is a trauma. It is without a doubt. So don't let anybody tell you that it's not. But can you describe for me those eyes that you saw? We've seen them in the pictures, but it's one thing to see them close up, that emptiness, that deadness. And I'm not trying to steal words out of your mouth, but how would you describe it for someone who was that close to that?
The word that literally just came out of me was soulless. I saw his eyes, and it looked like he wanted to appear like he could be a normal person just walking in, but seeing those eyes, you can definitely feel that something wasn't right, just because of how wide his eyes looked, especially with the dark under eye and the sunken eyes that he had. Someone could literally think that there was something more to him.
That in itself is interesting. The fact that it appeared he didn't have a very well self-care routine going on. There's a lot of people who don't, but it's indicative of other things that might be going on with this human being in terms of mental health state and whatnot, especially someone who's not taking basic care of themselves, and they're set to go be a teacher in just a few days. There's a lot of questions, obviously, that we still have about this individual and his background and what made him who he is. But I think you've revealed everything that you can. Is there anything else you want to share about him that you haven't said already?
It all happened pretty quickly. It was just a regular day at work, and just the thought that he, with the clothes that he was wearing, that maybe he possibly just wanted to blend in with, where he was going. And also, just, the way that, that he just presented, his face. But I also do want to say, off topic from him, a lot of people say, they say, I read comments saying you're a hero, and I am not a hero. I know the hero, and I believe the heroes are the little girls, the parents that try to protect them. And I'm thankful that the police were able to get him when they did.
It's easy for outsiders to downplay the impact of an encounter like Adriana's until you've actually lived it, until you felt the cold emptiness behind a murder suspect's stare. Adriana didn't set out to be part of this whole story. She wasn't chasing recognition or heroics, yet in those tense, surreal moments, she became an unexpected witness to justice unfolding. As detective placed evidence markers beside strands of hair on her salon floor, reality hit hard. She had come alarmingly close to someone capable of unimaginable violence. It's a scary, scary prospect that all of us live with every single day. We don't know all of those around us. We don't know what they're capable of. Some seem normal, some do not. Some come with eyes that look as if there is no soul behind them. What do we do about encounters like that? That's what many school districts are now going to be grappling with now that they've realized evil came through their elementary classrooms. And in some cases, that evil that had been hinted at by parents and students was brushed under the rug. You can bet we're going to keep investigating that angle. And we're going to keep pushing for reforms in this area so people like this can be caught quicker and not moved along the system for fear of retribution from a monster. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section on our Facebook page, or rather on our YouTube channel or Facebook, wherever you like to go. YouTube is Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi. You can find us on social media under that same title as well. And if you're listening to us on the podcast platforms, or would like to, if you're watching us on YouTube, do that same search, Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi, wherever you download podcasts so you don't miss any of our coverage on this case and the many that we follow for you right here at the Hidden Killers podcast and True Crime Today. My name is Tony Bruschi. Thank you guys for watching and listening. We'll talk again real soon.
Want more on this case and others? Then press subscribe now and don't miss a moment of true crime coverage from Tony Bruschi and the Hidden Killers podcast.